Hello everyone and welcome back. I am Duke Silver and today we are playing Gwen. Now before we get into it, I just want to say good luck to everyone playing in the tournament today. I'll be playing in the Snowflake Flight, which will be covered, and I'll be streaming my games with a 15-minute delay over on Twitch. So if you want to follow along with my games, you can go over there and hang out and chat. I probably won't have my mic on, or I'll be doing very limited commentary just so I can completely focus on the games. But yeah, I'd love to see you over there. But yeah, so yeah, we're playing Gwen. We had kind of an awkward shop to begin with. We had to buy a black cat, and then we locked the pair of baby roots with the genie's wish, and then the genie's wish turned into a shrink. But now we find a second shrink, and back-to-back shrinks means an incredible amount of econ. So we start with an awkward shop, and now we're doing pretty well. We don't really have much attack here, but the health makes up for it as long as our opponents don't have too much attack. Now, one thing I've been doing with Gwen lately is I've basically been trying not to knighthood on turn 1 anymore. Like I do like knighthooding a familiar just in general, just because I like the play patterns it kind of sends you into. Like, I mean, I like playing mages, but I've just found that I have a lot more success lately with Gwen by holding off on the knighthood and finding the mix-a-wizzle and getting a power spike that way. And yeah, the gold just works out too efficiently for me not to take experience there. We're pretty weak on board because of it, and we're definitely going to lose this against an opposing double baby root player, but they've got some bigger characters in front, the higher power range characters. So we take some damage, but we're going to get to level 4 next turn now. We get a pretty awkward shop here. Really nothing I want out of this, so I am just going to take a roll. And there's nothing that I really want to shard because I'd have to break up my baby root pair, and buying a 2 and sharding it is definitely not something I'm interested in. All right, we get rewarded for our roll. We find our blind mouse triple, and these are all pretty solid treasures. But I mean, forking rod. I feel like forking rod is just like maybe the most efficient treasure in the entire game. It just does so much for what it is, for where it's at. And then we'll take a brave princess. It's 3.1, so like it's a little bit later than I would like it to be. But we fork an earthquake, and we could come up against another double baby root player. But our toughness allows us to get our brave princess slay though, and we're gonna win the fight pretty handily. Probably thanks to the double earthquake. And now we see 3 4s and a 3. It's only 3.2, so we can forking rod the roll the dice here, and we're pretty likely to get 2 4s. And at worst, we get 1 4 and a stag with some extra stats. Like, I'm definitely in for this. So yeah, we get a Juliet and a hippocampus, and I could just buy the Amy. It's a decent sized range character, but we have 5 gold left, so I feel like I can roll. And yeah, we're gonna take the feasting dragon here. Now, in hindsight, I feel like maybe I should have just fired off the knighthood on the feasting dragon, but again, I'm like trying to get the most out of my knighthood, so I figure I shouldn't try and wait for a mix-a-wizzle. But I mean, technically we're ahead anyways. Like we were at level 4 earlier than normal, so getting an upgraded feasting dragon. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to do it that turn, but this turn we could have done it and started really scaling our shops. I mean, like it probably doesn't make much of a difference on the outcome of the game. Clearly, I mean, I'm sure you've all anyone that's been here for any amount of time knows that I don't really upload losses. So yeah, we're gonna take a pair of hippocampus. We're not really set up for hippocampus, but it's a level 4 pair. It's 4.0. There's a world where we end up getting some animals, and if we just get a level 4 triple and like TLK it or something, then I'm fine with that as well. At the moment, they're just kind of like giant tinies with a bunch of attack and no health. Right, we managed to minimize damage through the cat skull, so there's no chance of us winning that fight. But we get to finish our brave princess, which is feels pretty fortunate. It's often that third slay for brave princess, if you get it even on 3.1, like doesn't feel like it's gonna go. Okay, so here I really like Fancy Pants, but also we're gonna take the triple baby root here. So I'm gonna take Haunted Helm just because I really don't want to put the Fancy Pants on the baby root. And Haunted Helm gives us some stats immediately, which is probably gonna help us with our plan here of probably putting Feasting Dragon in 1, so that it can tank a hit before, and then I'll potentially also get a slay. But it's possible that maybe my logic there was flawed, and I should have just taken the Fancy Pants and lost the first buff to the Baby Root, which probably doesn't stick around that long. But Fancy Pants is just a superior treasure long term, in my opinion. Alright, we get 1 Feasting Slay, but we missed the second one because of the Copycat. The Spirit buff going directly onto the Vampire. A little bit unfortunate, but we win the fight anyways. That's a pretty large Friendly Spirit. I'm not sure if I take it here, but I feel like I should. Okay, I do not take that. So that's a little bit awkward in hindsight. We get another Polywoggle. We're happy to collect a couple, especially with these extra stats on it from the Feasting Dragon Slays. Yeah, Polywoggle is another way to get a higher tier unit and then Knighthood it. We're on level 5, so I should probably be playing at least one of these Polywoggles. Oh, we find the golden. I would have played one in slot 1 there. And we're gonna switch the daggers out for Crown of Atlas. It's not much of an upgrade. It's not really an upgrade for stats. It's just a better long-term treasure. Because if we lose a fight, then we just lose the daggers. So having Crown of Atlas just gives us more access to different comps later. And this unfortunately our Polywoggle is too large and gets nerfed by the Robin Wood. Also, that's a Mrs. Claus bot, by the way. They're 2 experience ahead of the lobby and have a monkey's paw. So it was kind of wild because I didn't even realize it was a bot at first. And yeah, because they're actually playing the game there. Alright, so there's a Baba Yaga, which I don't mind Baba Yaga with the Feasting Dragons, but the fact that we don't have Horn, which we do have Horn now, but we didn't have Horn as well as the Feasting Dragons. Like, they're not that big, they're not scaling in any way, so relying on them to slay is pretty loose. I was considering casting the Falling Stars, but we do not, and we get our Poly Slay, and it survives into a golden Jormungand, so now we kind of regret not taking the Baba Yaga. And we get to triple our Hippocampus that we've been holding on to for probably far too long. And I'm gonna get rid of the Haunted Helm here. Moonsong Horn plus Forking Rod is a combo that I like a lot. It gives us access to forking. We get to fork TLKs or even the end. I mean, we're a little bit high. We're high on experience right now, but if you can double cast the end and get 2 experience plus a bunch of health up, that's also really, really powerful. Also on level 6, it gives us access to forked smites. So I'm a fan of that, even without Crystal Ball. Okay, so we find a Baba Yaga. I could just fire off this Feed the Kraken on the Brave Princess and look for other stuff, but we decide not to. And unfortunately, the Lightning Bolt immediately hits our Baba, which is definitely the worst hit out of all 3 of those. We're gonna win the fight by a lot, but we were hoping to get a little bit of feasting scaling with the Baba support. All right, now we are on level 6. So essentially, we're just, I guess, kind of looking for slay pieces. See, at this point, like, we still haven't used our Knighthood, and I don't honestly know what I would use it on at this point. Like, Knighthooding a Baba Yaga doesn't really feel like it does enough. And our Jormungand's already golden. We don't really care about Knighthooding like a River Wish Mermaid. I think a Princess P, if we find a River Wish Mermaid, is the thing that I would happily Knighthood. Yeah, there's that Smite, which I'm debating taking. Like, I feel strong enough that I can just kind of win. I can win against one of these lower boards. But I figure I should just take the double Smite just to guarantee it. And again, these Feasting Dragons haven't really been scaling, so like the 24 and 23 are not that good. All right, so we got our first Smite, hits the Friendly Spirit, which goes on to the Good Boy, giving them too many stats for us to slay. So the double smite actually kind of works against us a little bit there. And since we don't get any slays, our Yorm just doesn't get any stats, and we get destroyed. Take 15 damage, so we're down to 13. We went from like first place kind of comfortably to now just fighting for survival with the rest of the pack. Horde Dragon seems to be doing very well. They're ahead of everyone by a significant margin now. So I could double Burning Palm something, but I don't think that's impactful enough. Right, we got a triple on our Baba Yaga. And yeah, we got to take the Evil Eye over the Horn here. As much as we like to have access to double smites and whatnot, I think it's the right call. Consider just buying like Doom Breath and putting it in one, because we have a decent amount of attack, but we sell down. And also, I also considered changing my hero there, because I mean Gwen doesn't have a hero power anymore. I mean, it doesn't. As soon as you start the game, it doesn't have a hero power. But yeah, I was considering switching heroes, but I decided to sell and buy the Boomhilda to put all the extra attack we can on the Feasting Dragons and try and get slays for our Jormungand here. Because this is going to be the only way we win is if Jormungand gets big enough to solo their board, basically. And he does, so. Alright, and there's a River Wish Mermaid, which is pretty huge. It's going to be a lot of extra scaling for Jormungand, as well as, and yeah, again, I'm looking at Doom Breath, because Doom Breath with River Wish and these two supports, like, it's going to get big enough that it should be able to slay a bunch of things, but also there's another Jormungand there, which is maybe a little bit more tempting. I'm tempted to just put the first Yorm in slot 1 and then try and get slays that way, because it's so much more likely to slay. Yeah, so we're not going to take the Doom Breath here. We are going to take the second Yorm. Kind of, as long as we can get that first slay, like we're going to get so many stats that it should be enough to just win the game. Or win the fight, rather. And yeah, I considered just putting Boomhilda back in over the River Wish, but I mean we need that first thing to have slay to even get those slays, right? So also now these Jormungands are going to feed each other. Like now that they've kind of got the snowball rolling, we're going to be able to dominate this World Tree board even with our giant Jormungands. And then we can triple the Feasting Dragon, but again, it's not going to be big enough, so I'm just going to pass it. We want to find a Medusa at this point. Medusa basically guarantees our slay, so I feel like that's just the most important thing to get these Jormungands going. There's an argument for potentially buying this Echo Wood, because I mean obviously all the stats that Jormungands get, the Echo Wood will see as well and get those, but we have to get that slay first, so it's a little too vulnerable. Also, I made a mistake there, double Mix-a-Whistling the golden character. Like it's going to be very big and probably going to slay, but at the same time, there's Medusa, which we're going to lock. But at the same time, I could have double Mix-a-Whizzled one of these Feasting Dragons, and then I could have Knighthooded it if it was a good character that we wanted to keep. So like we can't Knighthood a golden character already, so that was definitely a little bit of a mistake. And our golden Yorm is big enough to solo their board again. And yeah, now we get to take our Medusa. And we're going to take another Yorm, of course. I mean, it's much better than a Feasting Dragon. It's going to be better than this Hippocampus. Although without buying almost any animals, this Hippocampus got very large, which is kind of wild. Yeah, so we're gonna be, this is gonna be the last fight, so we're gonna use the Knighthood, but we don't necessarily need to, but I'm gonna use it on one of the Yorms. It's gonna give us extra stats. It's gonna get quite large, I suppose. But like, I think the amount of stats it gains is a little bit arbitrary, just because, I mean, it's just going to be win more at this point. I mean, we do have to attack first, though, and I'm tempted to put in the second River Wish Mermaid, but I decided against it because if they somehow have a support that's makes it too big for Medusa to slay here, then we're in real trouble. Also, that was a golden copycat in front of these two good boys. So the fact that we attack into that first is fantastic, and actually saves this fight. There is a pretty good chance that we lose this fight. I'm pretty sure it was like I was only 48% to win, and they were 52%. So there's a real chance that we just don't win that fight if we don't attack first. So yeah, there we have it. We have a Gwen game where we basically didn't need to use the knighthood at all the entire game. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. And as you can see by the results on the side of the screen, that was played live on Twitch. So if you wanna come and hang out and watch me play games live, feel free to follow me over on Twitch. I've been streaming regularly, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've recently made affiliate, and I just submitted my first emote, which is gonna be, it's just for those of you that have been around the longest, I started this channel with my like profile picture was Appa from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I've made that Appa munching on the hay my first emote, so I'm pretty happy about that. Thanks to Jack Farnsworth for that suggestion. And yeah, follow me on Twitch. I'd really appreciate that. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And and good luck to everyone in the tournament again. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow.